Mayor LePage.
Domestic violence, elderly abuse, elderly violence, financial abuse is just a terrible thing in our society. We have children are abused every day, and we need to, as a society, work towards making it unacceptable in our daily lives. Everyone in this room will know when someone is being abused, when one of their friends is being abused, and you need to have the courage to step forward and speak up. That's where we're going to nip it. It's with all of us. The other thing that we need to do is we need to stop looking the other way as a state. We tend to minimize it. Domestic abuse is awful. We've seen elderly abuse in this city when someone, a family member, will take all the financial resources of their parents. That is absolutely criminal to me. And frankly, we need to be much, much tougher with the perpetrators. I think agencies on aging are a great place. It's a great social community setting for people to socialize, and that's where you're going to find out a lot about what's happening in the daily lives of people in our communities. Schools are a great place to find out where some of our children are being abused, why they're being abused, and teachers have to step forward. But frankly, we all have to step forward, you and I, and bring it to the surface.
Kevin Scott.
The question again is, we have 14,000 elders and victims of elderly abuse in the state of Maine. What will I do if elected governor to approach a solution to that problem? Three things. We need to prosecute folks that engage in elder abuse by the same standards that we do with child abuse. It's unacceptable that we are differentiating between vulnerable populations in the legal ramifications, in the penalties for abuse. We will do that. I will work as closely as I can with the Maine State Legislature, and that'll be very close, by the way, if you folks elect me your next governor. I will work very closely with our legislature and our area agencies on aging to create a model registry of elder abusers. We need to know in our community who is victimizing individuals that are vulnerable, whether they're children or elders. And that will be a model going forward on how we can communicate and hold people accountable. To make these things happen and encourage and promote people to come forward and report either being a victim of abuse or abuse in their own community, we need to put forth a model of a whistleblower type protection. We need to start making our communities aware of these problems. I have worked my career with many, many talented chief executive officers. I've been mentored in many, many corporate environments. And I can say clearly right now that what I will bring that is so different from others is the unique understanding that a leader is a communicator. A model whistleblower type program, movement towards a registry for elder abusers, this communicates to our society and to our communities that we are serious and we have a problem, and that's where the solution will start.
Thank you very much. I think it's important to recognize that seniors in Maine are very proud and they're very private. And so often the stigma of being abused by a loved one and a relative is not something one wants to share. There is the shame of that because it's a family member and it's the fear of speaking out. We need to empower our seniors by making sure the support services are there. There are tremendous models in local elderly abuse councils that are springing up all over the state to reach out and offer the support that an elderly person needs. What is also extraordinary about Maine, with its extensive network of area agencies on aging, you know who's in the community and you're able to reach out. If you think back to the ice storm, everybody went door to door when you knew a senior citizen might be living there alone. And it is important that we continue the outreach as leaders in our communities, but also have state policies that are firm and in place. Obviously, the prosecution and holding a perpetrator to a high standard and the penalty should be commensurate with the level of the crime, and they are. But we need to make sure that the seniors are not afraid to report. And that's why it's so important when we talked about having seniors stay at home, not to let them be isolated. There have to be opportunities to keep them connected with their community so that they're not isolated and victims of elderly abuse. It's just totally unacceptable. And there was a time, frankly, when victims of domestic violence, younger people, did not speak up either. We said, no, this is not acceptable in our society. We need to do exactly the same thing for our elders, who are very proud and very reluctant to complain.
Well, you know, the old saying, life goes full circle. You know, in raising 4 young adults, it's every parent's instincts and dreams to really coddle and nurture your kids, you know, up to that adult age. And I think as life cycle continues and you become older, you look at your parents in a view where they're always been self-supportive, they can take care of themselves, they don't complain, they're independent. Next thing you know, that elder population just kind of fails to speak up. So I think we've got to remember and continuously remind ourselves that, you know, once you get to that certain bell curve in life where you become, you know, you're not working again or working anymore, we'll say, and you've changed your patterns, your lifestyles, you need more care, you need more attention. And we've got to remember not to forget the ones that loved and nurtured us. So I think it's really our generation, I'm speaking for myself, that really needs to be actively involved, you know, with our parents, our friends, and a lot of our customers are older folks, and they're, you know, they're just very independent mainers, and they want to do everything, take it on themselves, but they're just not physically able. And then, you know, you get the early signs of dementia, you know, and things like that, where they make just poor decisions, and they do things that they wouldn't ordinarily do. So to identify those patterns of behavior, if you will, to have that close contact and personal touch with our elderly community, it's twofold. You get the benefits of being around people with a lot of experience and a lot of life stories, but also to stay in touch in the pulse of the community. It does. It starts with the families and our businesses and schools. It's all of our goal. It's all of our responsibility.
Thank you, Sean.